Animals are broadly divided into vertebrates and invertebrates. Vertebrates are animals with a backbone. Vertebrates are further divided into 5 classes: fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Let's look at some of the main features of fish. Fish live in water. Main characteristics of fish are they have a scaly skin. Their skin is covered with scales and they use gills for breathing. And they also have fins for swimming and their body shape. Most of the fish have a streamlined body shape, which means the two ends are pointed and the middle part is broader. So this streamlined body shape helps them to move easily through water. In the second diagram, you can see what they use for breathing: gills. Usually, the gills are covered with a special structure called operculum. Fish reproduce by laying eggs in water, and these eggs do not have any shells. The next group is amphibians. Amphibians are vertebrates, and their characteristic feature is smooth and moist skin. They also lay eggs in water and these eggs also do not have any shells. And once eggs hatch, they produce larvae. So these larvae usually are called tadpoles and these tadpoles live in water and breathe through gills. A tadpole is more or less similar to a fish because they have a big tail-like structure for swimming. But as tadpoles grow, they change into an adult. You can see so many changes are happening. Usually the adults are living on land and they use lungs for breathing. So the larva or the tadpole uses gills for breathing, but the adult animal uses lungs for breathing. Adult can live on land, but they go back to water to lay their eggs. Reptiles. The characteristic feature of reptiles is having a thick, dry, scaly skin. They also have scales, but their skin is very dry. Reptiles are of many different types. Some reptiles have legs like crocodiles, tortoise, turtle, and some reptiles don't have any limbs, for example, different types of snakes. Reptiles also reproduce by laying eggs. These eggs have a soft or leathery shell and they lay their eggs on land. And reptiles, including fish and amphibians, are cold-blooded animals, which means they do not have a constant body temperature. Their body temperature also changes with the changes happening in the environmental temperature. Next group is birds. The characteristic feature of birds is having feathers on their body. And some species of birds have scales on their legs. Another special feature, a unique feature of birds is their front limbs are adapted as wings and these wings help them to fly. And most of the birds are able to fly, but there are few species, even though they have wings, they are not able to fly. Ostrich is an example. Kiwi is another example of a flightless bird. Beak is a very special characteristic feature found only in birds. Birds also reproduce by laying eggs, and these eggs have a hard shell. Unlike the previous classes that we discussed, birds are warm-blooded animals, which means they can maintain a constant body temperature irrespective of the outside temperature. Birds have a heart with 4 chambers. The next group of vertebrates is mammals. Mammals are classified using the following features. Mammals have fur or hair on their skin. They give birth to live young and most of the mammals take care of their young. Here are some other features that help us to categorize mammals. Female animals have well-developed mammary glands that produce milk to feed their young. Mammals can maintain a constant body temperature, which means they are warm-blooded animals. An external feature that helps us to recognize mammals is having an external ear or pinna. Mammals also have a heart with 4 chambers. Mammals have different kinds of teeth: incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Depending on their feeding pattern, the development of these teeth is different. For example, carnivores have well-developed canines. Herbivores like animals, horses, have well-developed premolars and molars. Since mammals give birth to their young, the young ones develop in a special organ in mother's body, which is called uterus. The fetus is attached to the mother using another special organ called placenta. So, placenta helps to exchange materials like food, oxygen, waste materials between the fetus and the mother's blood. Mammals also have sweat glands on their skin. These sweat glands help them to maintain their constant body temperature. Another internal characteristic feature of mammals is having a diaphragm. Diaphragm is a thin membrane situated between the chest and the abdomen. The movement of diaphragm up and down help us to inhale and exhale. The diaphragm helps in breathing movements. Now let's move on to invertebrates. Invertebrates are animals without a backbone. So arthropods, mollusks, annelids, and echinoderms are main groups of vertebrates. Out of these, we are going to discuss about arthropods. Arthropods are invertebrates, which means they do not have a backbone. Arthropods can be recognized using the following 3 features: having jointed legs, an exoskeleton, and a segmented body. The diagram shows the structure of a jointed leg. It is made up of different parts. So all the arthropods have this type of jointed legs. And the other feature is having a harder outer covering to their body, which is called exoskeleton. The third special feature of arthropods is having a segmented body. All the arthropods have a body made up of different parts. Arthropods are a very successful group of animals, and they do have very many different types. Their exoskeleton supports their body and it is waterproof, which helps them to live on land without drying out. There are 4 classes of arthropods: insects, arachnids, crustaceans, and myriapods. Next, we are going to see how we can identify each group. Insects: bee, butterfly, fly, grasshopper, mosquito, all these small creatures belong to insects. But remember, all the small creatures that we come across in our day-to-day life are not insects. Now let's see how we can clearly identify an insect. All the insects have 3 body segments: head, thorax, and abdomen. And they have 3 pairs of jointed legs. So these 3 pairs of jointed legs are attached to its thorax. And they have a pair of antennae, 1 pair of antennae. And most of the insects have 1 or 2 pairs of wings. They breathe through tubes called trachea. Insects are terrestrial animals, which means land-dwelling animals, and the exoskeleton helps them to prevent water loss through the body. So, they are very successful group of animals. The next group of arthropods is arachnids. Spiders, ticks, and scorpions belong to this group. They are usually land-dwelling organisms. Arachnids' body is divided only two parts. So they have only two body segments, cephalothorax and abdomen. And they have four pairs of legs, but they do not have antenna. Crustaceans are the third group of arthropods. Crabs, lobster, shrimp, wood lice, they all belong to crustaceans. And most of them are aquatic and they breathe through gills. Their characteristic feature is having more than four pairs of jointed legs and two pairs of antennae. The fourth group of arthropods is myriapods. Centipedes and millipedes belong to this group. Their body consists of many similar small segments, and each body segment has one or two pairs of jointed legs, and they also have a pair of antennae. So basically we can use the number of legs to categorize arthropods into four groups. Insects have three pairs of legs. Arachnids have four pairs of legs. Crustaceans have more than four pairs of legs, and myriapods have many pairs of legs. Classification of plants. So all the plants belong to a separate kingdom, and this is how we can classify plants into different groups. Mosses and liverworts, ferns, gymnosperms, which are conifers, and angiosperms, which are flowering plants. Ferns. Ferns are plants with roots, stems and leaves, and their leaves are given a special name, fronds. They do not produce flowers, so they are a group of non-flowering plants. Ferns reproduce by making spores, which are produced on the underside of their fronds. The second diagram you can see how spores are arranged in the fronds. Their stem is an underground stem which is called a rhizome. Most ferns are very small, but a few species are there. They can grow up to 20 meters. The next group of plants is flowering plants. Flowering plants are having roots, stems and leaves which are very well developed. They reproduce by seeds. These seeds are made from flowers. Seeds are made inside an ovary in the flower. Seeds of a flowering plant contain one or two seed leaves, which are called cotyledons. So, according to the number of cotyledons the seed has, we can have two main types of plants: monocotyledons, which contain one seed leaf, and dicotyledons, which contain two seed leaves. Main characteristics of dicotyledons and monocotyledons. Here is a very basic comparison of dicots and monocots. Dicots have seeds with two cotyledons or two seed leaves, while monocots have seeds with a single seed leaf. Dicotyledons have a taproot system and monocotyledons have a fibrous root system. Taproot system has a main root which is going deep down and side roots attached to it. Fibrous root system has roots directly coming from the stem and all the roots are more or less the same size. Dicots have broad leaves with a network of veins, and monocots have long narrow leaves with parallel veins. In dicots, flowers usually have parts in multiples of 4 or 5, which means they have either 4 petals or 5 petals, and all the other flower parts are also the same, which means stamens, etc. Monocotyledons have flower parts in multiples of 3. In dicots, vascular bundles are arranged in a ring. In the stem, the vascular bundles are arranged in a ring, while in monocots, the vascular bundles in the stem are arranged randomly.